It is time for the third installment. We're evolving the name as we go. Gillian Shaw joins me. We're going to call it GNS this week. What do you think, Gillian?
Okay, GNS, that's good. I see. I'm in the front this week.
Well, you are, and you
Perfect.
should be.
Number
I think
one.
you should be because you're the you I dare. I'm almost going to be careful to say this, but you're the grande dame of Canadian tech writing.
Well, Steve, I don't know whether is that like a kind of backhanded compliment. Never
I
mind.
think you could
don't
take it
go into
multiple ways, and if you decide to smack me next time you see me, I won't take. I won't
Can I
consider that it
smack
was.
you through my iPad on
You
this
could try.
Skype?
I won't consider that you've done me ill because I think I have it coming to me. It's kind of sad day in Vancouver today. We are is it 28th of June today, and in a Vancouver institution's closing its doors.
We just learned, sadly, Radical Entertainment, which, as you know, because I have been covering the tech scene for a long time, I covered Radical in its early, very heady days as an up-and-coming gaming studio and pioneer in Vancouver. It is being closed down, or the word is that the staff is laid off to be sold or shut down. Sounds pretty much, Steve, like a shutdown. So a sad day for people there and also the industry here in Vancouver because, as someone pointed out, there are not a lot of big studio jobs to go to here.
So they were one of the pillars of the Vancouver gaming scene, and Vancouver always took a lot of pride in where it was positioned in the whole gaming world. In Canada, I'm not sure, but it looks like Montreal is kind of taking over the mantle as the king of gaming as far as, but we still have Electronic Arts, but Radical was always there, always innovative. How many people are affected?
I hear there are about 60 people affected, Steve.
Okay.
We're just working on that story. I've already seen job offers going out to the Radical people. They're very well regarded in the industry. But as someone in the industry pointed out to me that a lot of the job offers are entry level or require a move. So it's not as easy as packing your bags and heading down the street for a new job.
Yeah, there's not going to be
some of these people may have to leave Vancouver.
Some life-changing situations going on there. Now, just last week you were doing quite a bit of coverage on the whole gaming industry, and it's changing. The whole optics of gaming is changing away from the big studio model anyways, isn't it?
Well, I did a tour. Well, that was actually, I was on a special effects tour, so a lot of those studios and their hiring. But in terms of gaming, it is shrinking. And the companies that are starting up are tending to be just that, startups, small, a lot of mobile gaming, of course, and that is what's impacted Radical. Like other game makers, the whole shift to mobile apps in gaming is just changing the industry. I guess in a way, like the music
effect.
Industry was changed by digital downloads from CDs.
Everybody's trying to
starting
become
with just kind of small startup companies can produce games and with a much shorter time frame.
It's ironic that this news comes down the same month that Diablo 3 is released for the PC, which is a classic, heavy graphics, lots of processor, big production team game, which is making scads of money for Blizzard and really kind of reestablishing PC gaming as still a vital market.
Well, it's interesting with the shutdown. Of course, Blizzard is getting its share of criticism. Because
they own.
It's being said by people in the industry. There's a lot of talent here, original. This is the team working on the prototype series, but that I guess just wasn't making the sales or making the impact on the market that Blizzard needed.
Yeah. Let's move on to news of what's happening south of the border. Down in Silicon Valley, the last couple of days has been Google I/O. Google kind of following in Apple's footsteps, having a developer conference where they try and set the stage for the coming year by having all of their announcements. In their big keynote yesterday, Google basically saw the bus pull up to the bus station, the big bus that said, "Build your own tablet bus." And they said, "Is there room on this bus?" Decided there was room and got on board.
They are certainly on board, Steve, and it looks with their tablet that they're kind of taking on the the Kindle Fire, which in the U.S. has been on fire to, at least it launched like that, slowing, and certainly not, the Apple is still the dominant player. But that, I think what is most significant is their $199 price tag.
That is significant, and that's one of the reasons that it doesn't look like it's aimed right at the heart of the iPad. It does seem to be aimed at the Kindle Fire, which is another 7-inch tablet in about the same price range, very similar processor. Kind of interesting for what the Nexus 7, which is the name of the tablet, doesn't have as well as what it does have. And the one thing that it doesn't have is it doesn't have a high-definition camera. It's got a little 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera for doing doing video conferencing.
Things like this, yes.
This sort of stuff. But it doesn't have a rear-facing camera, which saved them a lot of money as far as the processors and the optics on it and all of that sort of stuff, and allows them to make it smaller and lighter because it comes in at 0.7 pounds, which is a nice trim device. So, but it's interesting that they've made that decision. It's obviously going to be part of a family tethered or spending a lot of its time tethered to a smartphone or working with a smartphone, which still does have the high resolution camera. You think that was a mistake?
No, I think it was a smart move, Steve, because, I don't know. I think this front-facing camera on tablets, that's pretty essential. I mean, I'm using one right now on my iPad. But as for the rear-facing camera, I seldom. Your smartphone has such great camera on it, and that's what you've got in your pocket all the time. Or if you're still one of these people who carries a point and shoot, but most people, their smartphone is probably better than the point and shoot they used to carry. Yeah. And how many times are you going to hold up this, honking big tablet to take a picture? I stood beside a guy the other day. I was at Grouse Mountain, and we were all admiring the bears there. And everybody had their little camera phones out. And this fellow, held up his big iPad in front of everybody. I have to say, it was pretty awkward, Steve. And also, I just don't think that you can take, I've used my iPad to take pictures. I just don't rate the photos. Taking a picture with an iPad as being really optimum. So I think that Google was smart to drop, try not to be too many things, focus on what it could do and do really well. And that is, as you say, it's a kind of combination e-reader, entertainment, communications device, but it doesn't have to be a camera.
Yes, to round out the specs for it, it also has a gyroscope in it, a GPS, accelerometer, microphone. It's got built-in 802.11 Wi-Fi networking. So it's got all of the other bells and whistles that you're going to need for doing location-based social networking, for gameplay with the accelerometer. They're saying that with the new Jelly Bean operating system, the new version of Android called Jelly Bean, that Google is expecting up to 9 hours of HD video playback on a single battery charge, which makes it ideal for sitting on the plane and watching a movie. It doesn't have a lot of memory, but it does have a micro USB port, so it's going to be easier to get content in and out of it. Exactly.
An all-round kind of entertainment machine, the kind of thing, Steve, that you like to, throw in your bag or your purse when you're traveling or you're heading out to the office, and it does a lot of the things you need without having to have the extra weight and the extra price.
Yes. Well, the price is what is going to be so appealing to a lot of people. I like the idea. The best of the little Android tablets that I've seen so far has come from Samsung, and it's been a little bit more, but it was a nice tablet, the Samsung Galaxy. The Nexus 7 looks like it's going to be a major step forward, and at $199, it's going to have some legs. So now we're starting to see the lineup, I think, starting to form. With at the bottom end, it's going to be the Kindle Fire, going to have to fight it out with the Nexus from Google, and then the mid-range, you've got the Apple, and hopefully soon a Microsoft tablet coming through the top end, which is Microsoft is hoping to own, but of course we know that Apple will be there as well. Maybe not as much in the corporate space, but certainly at the top end of the consumer market. So we're starting to see a real stratification. It might be the end of the PC era.
Oh, I think the PC era came to an end a while ago. We just haven't cleared away the bodies, Steve. I think that with all these choices and the fact that businesses are turning to tablets, because of course that was a stumbling block, right? Even in the work I do and a lot of companies that I've covered, at first businesses were really reluctant to move to tablets. Well, now a lot of them, a lot of the Fortune 500 and followed by others are going that direction. And of course, there's another thing with this Google's new tablet that for Canadians is significant over the Kindle Fire is the Kindle Fire never really delivered all its content for Canadians. So it was as popular as it was. And I know there was a lot of interest when I wrote about it, just saying when it was announced in the States, there was a lot of interest among readers. And you could get one for Canada, but a lot of that streaming content was never sort of offered or geared for Canada. I don't think that we'll have that problem with Google's new tablet, because of course you're going to be linked to Google Play, and just as you can shop in the iTunes store for apps, Google should be delivering more content or whatever we need in Canada. So that makes it a true cross-border machine.
And so our made in Canada e-reader is even starting to look farther and farther behind with the Kobo, which still makes a very nice e-reader, but boy, they were going to have to step up with something pretty spectacular in their next version, or they're going to be roadkill.
I expect they, got that in mind.
Maybe they should just bring this one in and use this one, because I'm not sure it's going to be worth building another one and competing on all the levels. But we'll see exactly what they do. A few other items coming from Google. They have the Nexus Q. Did you happen to see that? That's their kind of Apple TV competitor, a streaming product. Did you take a look at that?
Yeah, and that's interesting. I think one of the things that's interesting is it took so long. I don't know what you think about this, but Steve, one of the big selling points for Apple was its sort of it's as an all-round entertainment ecosystem.
Yes.
So Google certainly you can't be lagging behind there.
And so the Nexus Q, for our listeners, is a $299 ball, which is basically it's a social streaming media player, allowing you to bring your Android phones and other Android devices, connect to it, stream your content from, using it as a gateway to your large screen TV. And people managing it can set up playlists. So your friends can come and they can send songs to it, and then you can manage their playlist coming through. The reviews I've seen says that it's very cool when it works. It takes a little more. It's not quite as much a no-brainer to set it up as Google is making out. But basically, hopefully, all your friends are in the same are Android users, and then you've got something to go with. If not, it could be just another device that you need beside your Apple TV. Well,
exactly, and that's a problem, isn't it? I mean, this whole kind of closed systems that you get locked into. Yep. It could be a problem for users, right?
Yeah, they did talk a little bit about their Project Glass as well, which is Google's glasses.
Are you going to get a pair when they come out? What,
$1,500 for a pair of glasses?
Steve, is that the price tag on those?
That's what they're going to cost, which is a little more than I'm pretty sure they're not going to be available at Clearly
I'm
Contacts.
ready to trade in my glasses anytime.
Well, I guarantee you
won't be those Google glasses.
You won't be sticking a $1,500 pair on top of your melon like that, girl. You're going to be careful with them. But they had a whole bunch of skydivers jump, and they shared it all on a Google Plus, on a Hangout on Google Plus. So they had some fun with it. I guess this is going to be a reality at some point down the line. I can see commercial and industrial applications being quite interesting. When it gets downstream to the rest of us, I don't know. It's one of the pieces of technology that I look at and go, I don't know why we would need it yet, but if it does come, I'd probably like to have a pair.
Oh, we'll be all trying it out. I mean, we've said that about a lot of technology, right, Steve? So,
yeah, and there's still things. The wristwatch still hasn't really caught on yet. The high-tech wristwatch still hasn't caught on, even though there's lots of efforts.
I'm waiting for mine in the mail.
Yeah, well, you bought one. You jumped on the Kickstarter.
I have one of the new iPhone connected watches that got literally a kickstart on Kickstarter.
Yes.
It's supposed to be in production anytime now.
Well, when you get that, I'll be looking forward to what you have to say about it. The other big news, of course, is they just talked about their new Jelly Bean operating system for Android 4.1. It's going to be better. It's a little more around connectivity, using Google Beam to be able to send photos and videos from one phone to another. So some of the things that we actually saw last 2 weeks ago with the new Samsung
exactly.
Galaxy phone is now being entrenched in the operating system. Within Android. And you know what concerns me is it's starting to sound more and more like the Windows days when the operating system was putting things in, other people were building apps that do the same thing, and you never knew whether you were in an application or the operating system, and they tended to conflict. I think Android might be a little bit on that path.
Well, I hope you're wrong, Steve, because those are really useful. Like when we have it, we've tried it out on the Galaxy Samsung S3.
Yes.
I have to remember all the names. Like Samsung's latest Galaxy phone, which is a great phone, and I really like that beaming feature. Having things just kind of seamlessly shift. But that, of course, is a key, seamless. And if you start running into conflicts or kind of software fighting with itself, that could be a problem. So I hope you're wrong.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong, but I know I'm right. Let's wrap things up with a little slap on the wrist to our dear friends at Facebook. Oh, we can't make up the sort of stunts that they pull. Really, can we?
You really think that Facebook has had its wrist slapped often enough? They would know that users, even though, as a lot of people point out, users are getting a free service, but they don't like Facebook messing with their settings, which Facebook is always doing. And this time, it just decided to change everybody's email address to facebook.com.
In their profile, without permission.
And the most egregious thing for users was that Facebook didn't even bother telling them.
Yeah. It was bad on every front. So for listeners that haven't yet kind of looked at it, what happens is your Facebook email address in your profile changes. Even though you have a preferred email address, that's the one that in your settings, and you go into the settings, you'll see that whatever email address you registered with Facebook is still there, and that's where Facebook sends you status updates and communicates with you. But everybody visiting, all of your friends visiting your page, see an entirely different address, which is your name at facebook.com now, as the point of entry. And Facebook just basically, they said it makes things easier or more streamlined. Well, it makes it easier for Facebook. It makes it very easy for them to start a steady stream of spam coming to our email inbox. But it really wasn't required, and they didn't get permission. And because of how they implemented it, it's actually difficult to remove. People are going to go into their account settings, and they're not going to find it there. You have to go in and view it as if you were a visitor to your page, and then go in and change your profile information from there. I just find it really distasteful.
Well, it's a bit awkward. I went in and changed it for mine, although I joked if I left it like that, that would be less email for me to look at, because Facebook.com, I would have to say, would be about the last email inbox I look at.
Unless they forward everything
in a way, it could backfire. It could backfire on them, because people like me just not inclined to use that as a first line email. What I found was really hard, Steve. Like, one of the things that I found was just annoying was it showed up, this Facebook.com email showed up on my timeline. I didn't even know that. And as you say, you have to figure out how to get through the settings and find the little circle that you click to say, take it off my timeline. Well, a lot of people don't. I mean, a lot of people haven't even kept up with the privacy settings on Facebook. Yes. So a change like that, I'm sure a lot of people still don't know about it. But
shame on you,
Steve,
Facebook.
we have to. We just have to be practical about this. Facebook is really an ad company. They're not in business to give us a wonderful service to share our thoughts and pictures and everything else. They're in their business of making money from ads. And we're just the way that brings in that ad business.
Well, I don't like that, Gillian. I'm not happy with it.
I hate to burst that little Facebook bubble of yours, Steve.
Well, I don't have a Facebook
that's
bubble,
just
first
the way
of all.
it is.
You are absolutely correct, but it doesn't mean that we still can't hold them to a higher standard and hold their feet to the flames once in a while. For listeners or for viewers that are watching right now, if you take a look on my YouTube channel or on the Dotto Tech site, I've got a short little 3-minute video there that describes exactly how to change your settings back on Facebook. And I received a beautiful little email from Facebook the other day. This is one that you probably wouldn't see because you deal with Facebook as a private person. I also deal with Facebook in a community page for the Dotto Tech account. And so they look at me as a business as well. And everybody who's liked my status in Dotto Tech theoretically wants to know about things like, we post about this interview and they want to know what's happening in the Dotto Tech world. Facebook now, every time I put a post in my community page, which people have subscribed to, asks me if I want to spend money to make sure more people that have subscribed to me get the message. How do you like that?
I'm sure you took out your credit card right away, right, Steve?
Absolutely not. What I did is I took out my keyboard and I wrote a scathing column about it because it just chuffed me so much. I just was not happy about it at all. And now, to add insult to injury, they sent me an email. I'm gonna put it up here so people can see. Take a look. They sent me an email inviting me to a seminar on how to use this dastardly service better.
Well, just better take your credit card to that seminar. That's all I can say, Steve.
I am not doing that. Gillian Shaw, we will talk again next week. Thanks so much for your time. You can, of course, find all of Gillian's fine work at the Vancouver Sun, and you can find my work at dottotech.com. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks, Gillian.
See you, Steve.